In 11 seasons, Michael scored 28,412 points. That's very close to the total amount of points LeBron James has in 15 total seasons.
What we got? The simplest argument for Michael Jordan still being greater than LeBron James. So we all know this channel is no question that Jordan is the GOAT. But I'm watching this video because this is a video I haven't seen no one else react to. Also, I'd never seen this. I'm not sure if y'all seen this video, but it has a good amount of views, and I've seen the first comment, and it said that he's doing his thing. So I'm excited for this video. Let's get right into it.
LeBron James is better.
Also, let's get this video to 200 likes in 24 hours.
Basketball than anyone I've ever seen. Period, point blank. And when you say, what did Jordan do better? It's a good question. Because the one thing people say is Jordan was a better scorer. Well, was he? Jordan for his career averaged exactly 3 more points per game than LeBron averaged. But he did it on more than 3 more shots per game. LeBron shoots a better percentage from 2, shoots a better percentage from 3. He is clearly the more versatile defender. LeBron James can guard 5 positions on the court.
Listening to Nick Wright talk about LeBron James, it hurts my head, to be honest. No, it's not because I hate LeBron. No, it's not because I'm your typical run-of-the-mill old head who thinks Michael Jordan is Jesus. But it's because Nick says a lot of things that sound good when nobody on the panel takes the time to correct him on things he's clearly wrong or biased about.
Yeah. He went to a team that was not a playoff team and made him a champion. He left that team and they missed the playoffs.
So, you're just gonna ignore every other factor that led to Miami missing the playoffs that year? Alright, cool. I'm not about to have a roasting session of Nick Wright, and honestly, I'm not even going to take the time to correct everything he says because B-Sauls actually did a good enough job on that a while back. But what I am going to do is inject some simple but needed common sense into this whole MJ-LeBron argument. There seems to be this group of people out there that just want rings to go away when comparing their favorite players. Every single day I see NBA Twitter trying to diminish the greatest thing you can accomplish as a superstar franchise player. So we're gonna play by that group's rules until the end where I show how stupid that logic is. But for now, let's get started on this. Depending on when this video comes out, LeBron James is roughly 25 games away from completing his 15th year in the NBA. That's significant for this video because by that point, he will have played the same amount of seasons as Michael Jordan, giving them a nice and easy basis for comparison. Of course, there's the fact that he's already played more total regular season games than him, and the fact that the remaining 25 games really aren't going to change anything I have to say. Starting from the top, Nick Wright had some snarky attitude about MJ being the better scorer than LeBron, and then he even questioned that because of MJ attempting 3 more shots per game in his career. Okay, well, I don't know much about math, but I don't need to know much to understand these basic numbers. The fact that LeBron hasn't finished his 15th season yet is pretty irrelevant here because he's almost an entire 2,000 points behind Jordan as we speak. Same amount of time.
Dang, I didn't even know that. So when it was both 15-15, he was 2,000 points behind Jordan.
More games played, and close to a 2,000 point difference. But that's not the best part about that. Do you know when Michael Jordan scored most of his 32,000 points? In the 11 seasons with the Chicago Bulls when he wasn't coming back from retirement or a broken foot. So if we do the math on that, in 11 seasons, Michael scored 28,412 points. That's very close to the total amount of points LeBron James has in 15 total seasons.
Ooh, I didn't even know this. Yo.
And by the way, these are just numbers. This doesn't account for Michael being more technically sound.
Yo, that was Jordan's stats for each year. Like, guys, I know Jordan is the GOAT. I know he's remarkable. He has a shot. He's a scorer, everything. But, like, when you still see this is crazy. Bro, his first, he got 3K, 28, 27, 26, 25. Like, and you could tell this only really happened because, like, it's not because he got worse. He just started playing more like a team, but his points, it was still there. Yo, this is crazy. And then, yo, this is crazy. This is where's his rookie season? I don't know, but his earliest season is at 23-13. That's tough.
Having better footwork, a better back-to-basket game, a better mid-range game, having mastered the fadeaway. Oh, and I also purposely waited until the end to remind you that Jordan is a 10-time scoring champion. LeBron won the scoring title once. Jordan's best scoring year was 37 points a game compared to LeBron's 31. This was a regular-sized NBA player that almost averaged 40 a game in the era that you all like to call quote-unquote real basketball. So you know what, I don't think anybody except Nick Wright was even questioning Michael being the better scorer. If you want to side with him because you think Michael attempting 3 more shots a game accounts for everything I just laid out, then be my guest, but I'm marking this one off. Oh, and a side note before I leave this area for good. For those of you that are going to use the field goal percentage argument Nick Wright set you up to fail with, which I am going to touch on a little bit more later, check out where most of LeBron James' attempts have come from in his career. Every single season, his leading metric by far is from 0 to 3 feet away from the basket. Unfortunately, this data for Michael Jordan doesn't exist outside of his Wizard seasons, but I don't think it needs to exist for you to know MJ didn't barrel into the paint as much as LeBron James given the size difference. Given that you'd probably know that, this 0.6 of a percentage point that separates their career field goal percentage shouldn't mean jack shit. And the fact that I've heard Nick Wright just try to gloss over this like LeBron was just so much more efficient than Jordan, again, those are just the things that hurt my head. Let's move on. Okay, so now we're gonna get onto the topic of defense. Mr. Wright actually did have a point about LeBron being a more versatile defender. I mean, he's bigger. His size has allowed him to guard real fours like Pau Gasol occasionally, although I don't think I've ever actually seen him take on a legitimate center for any good amount of time. All this talk about him guarding all 5 positions, but would you have wanted him down there with Dwight Howard in 2009? If DeMarcus Cousins was on fire, would you stick LeBron on him? Okay, wait, the whole 5 position thing, that's its own topic. Yes, LeBron is more versatile, and in today's small ball game, you could technically let him guard anyone in most situations, but how many times do we need to go over the facts that versatility does not equal better? Technically, Draymond Green is one of the league's most versatile players. He can guard almost any position, he can pass well, shoot the 3 ball, ruin your chances at parenthood. You can find more uses for Green than a lot of players that he's still not better than.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to MJ and LeBron, I'm struggling with this for a few reasons. First off, Michael Jordan has a lot more steals than LeBron in the same amount of time. 2,514 versus 1,835. That gap is not closing before the season ends unless LeBron turns into LiAngelo Ball. So again, there's no need to wait and compare for that. Along with leading the league in scoring 10 times, Michael also led the league in steals 3 times. How many times did LeBron do that? None. Zip. 0. Michael has a Defensive Player of the Year award. Let's check. Nope, LeBron doesn't have that. Michael has 9 defensive first team selections, LeBron has 6. On top of everything I just said, LeBron is only 33 years old right now, and he's already quit playing defense as far as we can tell this season. So if we open up the good old basketball Bible and scroll down here, we can see that Michael actually made the defensive first team for every year that he played in the 90s, including when he was 34 years old in his last season with Chicago. So not only was he winning championships, not only was he winning scoring titles, but he was simultaneously playing both sides of the floor at a high level. Do you know how many passes we give today's superstars for not playing great defense because we know they're carrying an offense? Michael did both. There was no such thing as a Jordan-led squad being the worst defensive team in the league because the tone he set wouldn't allow it. I think I've said enough here. Also, if you're wondering about blocks, MJ currently has him by about 20, so it seems like LeBron is gonna either tie or pass him this season.
Yo, and at the same time, he had the same amount of block, or 20 more blocks than LeBron too, in the same amount of games. See, like a lot of stuff he's saying, I already know. There's been like probably 2 things, the things that I just brought up that I didn't know, but when you hear all of it together, it just makes it crazy, right? Like you hear all the information about Jordan in one video, it's like, wow.
I think that means we can call that stat a wash because there's not going to be a margin where we can just flat out say someone was way better regardless of what happens. Of course, LeBron has his signature chase down block he was better at, but the numbers are going to be pretty close there. So, to the point we're at now, we've established Michael as the clear better offensive player. You can go ahead and make a huge deal out of the 0.6 of a percentage point that separates their shooting if that's your cup of tea, but I don't think it's a strong argument, especially when you consider how many of those buckets were right at the rim because LeBron is a freight train. After all, he's so much bigger and stronger, right? If you're even gonna dare to question who the better scorer is, and LeBron is that much bigger and stronger, that field goal percentage shouldn't be that close. Plus, according to Nick Wright, it's such an important thing that Michael attempted 3 more shots a game than LeBron. So if Michael shot more and LeBron scores closer to the basket more, then why are you boasting a 0.6 of a percentage advantage in that category? We've also established that LeBron is the more versatile defender, but there's no way in the hell you can make a case that he was the better defender. There's going to be more on that at the end, I promise. And if you look at the common statistical categories as a whole, this means the only thing you can clearly say LeBron James is better at is rebounds and assists. It's the only part of these major scorebox stats that LeBron just flat out did better than him. Just let that sink in for a moment. Listen.
Hey, it's not even that he's a better passer than Jordan too, because you know how they count passes nowadays. They're way more lenient on passes. And also when Jordan was point guard, he put up triple doubles. It just wasn't his role to pass the ball like that. So
Nick Wright make blanket statements about LeBron being so much better at this and so.
And also compared to people in their position, Jordan is a better rebounder compared to people in his position than LeBron is compared to people in his position. I remember the first GOAT comparison video showed us that.
Much better at that, and I just laid everything out in front of you, and the ending result was that LeBron passes better than Jordan and he rebounds better than Jordan. If you consider the fact that LeBron is a freight train and that Michael Jordan is a shooting guard where playmaking isn't exactly in the job description, then doesn't it make sense that James is better at those things anyways? Let's keep going. Actually, before we do that, yeah, LeBron supposedly has more range than Jordan because he shoots 1.6% better from threes, but if you're a Nick Wright fan and agree with his logic so much, then let's do a little math on those 3-point attempts MJ never got to take. You know, since his 3-shot attempts per game was such a big deal. LeBron has taken more than twice as many 3-pointers as Michael in these same 15 years, and he's made barely 1,000 more. So Mike made 581 out of his 1,778 attempts. If you did the math to adjust for errors and gave Michael the green light to shoot 3-pointers like everyone else today, according to the percentage he shot, he would have ended up with around 1,452 3-pointers, which is barely less than what LeBron has right now. But if you listen to Nick Wright, he'll have you thinking that LeBron is just a superior shooter from there because his 3-pointers made are so much higher. It's all in the era, people. It's pretty simple. Players are taking way more 3-pointers today than they did even 10 years ago. And again, I'm just using Nick Wright's attempt logic. If you're going to start the question if Michael was the better scorer because he took 3 more shots a game and ended up not even 1 percentage point behind LeBron in efficiency, then I'm going to use that same logic on LeBron taking twice as many threes over his entire career. Comparing them up to their 15 seasons, Jordan has 5 MVPs, LeBron has 4. Unless James Harden gets abducted or the Monstars pop up and take his talents, LeBron won't match that this season, and I think this year was the best shot he was going to get at another MVP. So check. But hang on a minute, I'm not done yet. Take note that I haven't said one thing about a quote-unquote team accomplishment yet. We're just going player for player right now, mano y mano. With an equal amount of years in the league, Jordan killed him in personal accomplishments. More points, more steals, more defensive accomplishments as a whole, more MVPs, and now I'm going to dabble into something called killer instinct. I get that this isn't a tangible concept and it can't definitively be measured by anything, but I can't make this video without this next part. When we compare two greats, we have to compare their entire body of work no matter what they've done to redeem themselves. So take 2011 for example, because although you didn't want me to go there, I'm going there. But I'm not going to go there out of hate, I'm just going there to make a point. We can't crucify LeBron for it and use it as a reason to say he's a career choker, that he doesn't have killer instinct at all, because since 2011 he's done a crazy amount of things. I've witnessed them firsthand. However, when we have a conversation like the one at hand, something like 2011 still has to be a part of the conversation because the information there is valuable. No matter what's happened since then, in this conversation, any meltdowns or no-shows are always going to be relevant. Again, I want to be perfectly clear here. LeBron James obliterated my Celtics in 2012, he led the charge on a comeback against the greatest team of all time, he was the best player in a series against the Spurs who are one of the greatest organizations ever. LeBron has more than made up for 2011, and even with that, it's still gonna matter in a greatest of all time conversation. MJ is 6-0 in the finals, and you can't just write that off as a team accomplishment because unlike with LeBron, you've never heard of a tragic Jordan moment on that stage because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, the thing is with the GOAT debate too for LeBron, bro, like you have too many stains on the legacy, bro. That's the issue. Like that Mavericks is definitely a stain for sure. The Mavericks is definitely a stain, and I feel like getting swept in the finals is also a stain. Those two things right there is what got you. I'm pretty sure didn't he get swept one of the times in the finals, or am I wrong? Was it 2017? Not 20. Wasn't it when KD came? He got swept one of those times. I'm pretty sure. See, I didn't even account for the one in 2007 against the Spurs, but yeah, bro, you've been swept twice in the finals. Those are two stains in your legacy, and then the Mavericks. That's just, you can't, for the GOAT debate, that can't be happening.
Was his greatness. 41 points a game on 50% shooting to go with 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals against the Suns in '93, the flu game against the Jazz, the epic steal on Malone, and his final shot with the Bulls. When you pull up Jordan's final resume, how he performed individually as the best player in the league on the biggest stage with the most pressure, all you find is him going above and beyond almost every single time. But unfortunately with LeBron, the same can't be said. Sure, he's had his amazing moments, hell, even in a series like 2015 where he didn't win.
Yo, look at that, 31, 42, 44, 55, 41 in the finals. Wow.
Sure, he's had his amazing moments, hell, even in a series like 2015 where he didn't win, even the fact that he made us think he could win was great. But that is never gonna change what I'm about to show you. I want you to hear something. It's something that you should never have to hear about a player as great as LeBron James, an insult to his legacy, but one that he allowed.
Magic, what do you expect from LeBron tonight? I want to see him, Stewart, have some fun. Get into his defense, because the key is, can he stop Jason Terry? Can he stop Jason Terry?
Can he stop Jason Terry?
That is the most damaging thing that ever happened to LeBron's case against Michael. For those of you that don't know, 2011 couldn't have really been a worse situation for James. They got all the way to the finals where they were definitely favorites to beat a Mavericks team nobody was even paying attention to until they swept the Lakers. Then he proceeded to mock Dirk being sick and averaged less points than both Wade and Bosh. But those were his teammates. The real problems start when you open up the basketball Bible and see that he was even outscored by Jason Terry, and he was slightly less efficient as well. For those of you sucking your teeth in the back, yes, I'm gonna be petty about that 0.2 of a point because it was Jason fucking Terry, a role player, a 33-year-old role player who had no business being touted as the guy LeBron needed to stop. And the biggest problems are what the tape shows. Maybe we would have been able to let this go if it stopped at the numbers, but what the tape shows can't be changed. It can't be spun, twisted, or justified like a lot of these stats. Roll the clip.
16th year with the organization. He started as a video coordinator. Terry, nice move. It goes down hard. Even if you don't get along, there comes a point where you got to stop sugarcoating.
What? Terry got that killer mentality. Stop playing with him.
Always confident they can come back. Terry shot rolls. Just past the midway point of the fourth. Terry drives to the basket. Lays it up.
I've never seen this. I watched the video on this.
So many times during these playoffs. Terry the drive was right at LeBron James. James back on Terry. One dribble. Pull up. Puts it in. Percentages extraordinary tonight. 56 for Miami. 56 for Dallas. Terry wide open for three. Nowitzki trying to get free. Good ball to Lyle again from Hazard. Shot clock at 5. Terry the drive. Out to Kidd. Kidd for three. It's good. Nowitzki wants the ball. Has them again. Excellent ball to Lyle. Terry a long three. Jason Terry gives the Mavericks a 7-point lead with 33 seconds remaining. Throws it ahead to Terry. James is back. Terry jump shot is good.
I say, can you give me 14, 15 minutes? Because this is what you dreamed of.
Yo, Terry feeling himself, huh?
Do yourself.
So, this is how I feel about this, right? Like, I feel like LeBron got his wake-up call late, and Jordan got his also. Okay, I'm saying this. I feel like Jordan and LeBron both got wake-up calls, but LeBron's wake-up call for him was this year. I feel like it should have been in 2007 when he first got swept. So, Jordan's wake-up call was definitely like probably that 88-89 season, and he came back and then he just said, I'm going to get stronger. I feel like that was his wake-up call, because wasn't the Bulls up and he choked the lead, right? Am I not mistaken, right? We're in the Bulls up in that 88-89 season, and they choked the league. And Jordan was like, because the Pistons decided they were just going to foul. And the Bulls choked it, though. Even though they decided to do that, the Bulls still choked it. So I feel like that is what made Jordan, that switch came. And I feel like for LeBron, this is what made LeBron's switch come too. But for LeBron, it should have been a little earlier. And then you got all these things in your legacy.
For favor if you're a LeBron fan. When 2011 comes up in a GOAT conversation, do what Nick Wright did and just take the L. If he can do it, you definitely can. I had a fan on Twitter once try to convince me that this actually wasn't a bad series for James because he averaged 18, 7, and 6. Well, on top of the fact that those just weren't good numbers for a prime LeBron James in the finals,
if you're a
that just
GOAT,
shows
come
you
on,
didn't
bro.
actually watch the series. His refusal to take charge on offense, the bad plays at crucial moments, and him getting beat off the dribble by Jason Terry time and time again says everything that needs to be said about that series. Also, this was at a time when LeBron James was being touted as a defensive stopper. The guy everyone credited with
Come on, man. He was called defensive stopper, and then Terry just did his thing and thrashed him.
shutting down MVP roles just a few weeks before this series started. The reason I went in depth on this case is because it matters in this conversation. Looking at the whole body of work, considering I've already showed you Michael's personal resume beats LeBron's pretty easily, when you start digging into their postseason performances, the good and the bad on the biggest stages matters. I get it. Rings can't be the only thing used to compare a player because it takes a team to win them. No championship team in history was just one man with no supporting cast, but on the flip side of that, bro, some players are a lot more important to their team's success than others, and those are the players rings really make a difference for. Comparing Steve Kerr, the player, to Russell Westbrook and using rings in the argument is stupid. Russell is a once-in-a-generation talent. Steve Kerr hit three-pointers sometimes. Rings have no bearing on that conversation whatsoever. LeBron and Jordan are two franchise, once-in-a-lifetime players that were each the face of the league. Rings aren't the only comparison for them, but when comparing their bodies of work, rings will carry weight. And especially when one of these guys could have had 4 had he have not crumbled on that stage. So when you compare LeBron and Jordan, two of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, you can't just say you're not going to count the times they made it to the biggest stages because it was a team accomplishment. In the words of Chris Smoove, how do you compare two products by omitting important features? You don't. Michael Jordan won his first 3 championships with one all-star caliber player. Go look at the rosters. As a matter of fact, for any of Jordan's 6 championships, the only players to actually make the all-star team in any given year was either him or Pippen. But again, go look at the first 3 rosters. From 91 to 93, that was their three-peat roster. None of these guys outside of Pippen were all-star caliber players. Horace Grant made one all-star team in his entire career, and that was in 1994 when Jordan left. Bill Cartwright made one all-star team in 1980. That was almost 10 entire years before he...
Yo, why Jordan looking swollen this though? Him and Horace. Yo, I'm trying to see Pippen. Yo, Pippen, I thought, bro, why? This gotta be photoshopped, bro. What? Why does Jordan look so swole in this?
Even joined the Chicago Bulls. I'm not trying to disrespect these players' careers, but with all due respect, these guys were not making up some fucking super team that was claiming they were going to win 8 championships. No matter who likes it or who doesn't, Michael Jordan is still 6-0, and he showed up every single time his team got to the big stage. There is no story about a role player consistently blowing by Jordan. There's no story about an 8-point game in a pivotal part of a series. There's no story about whether his averages in a series that he lost in 5 games were during garbage time or not. And finally, there is no story about Jordan's teams winning a 7-game series where they were the underdogs. Do you know why his teams were never underdogs? I'll give you a hint.
MJ. Oh, he did it! And Michael. Here it is again. Oh, whose game is it? It's Michael Jordan.
The balls he does. Here's Jordan. He blows by Pearson. Jammed it down.
That's what happens when you're the bully, man. Jordan was just a bully, and that's cool. Jordan wasn't getting bullied. He was for sure the 90s bully.
Cartwright off to Jordan. Michael underneath for the dunk. Oh, what a move by Jordan. It counts. And the foul. Drive and the reverse. Michael Jordan. The first one. To Michael Jordan from 15 off the board. Talk about an athlete. What is Jordan? The left-handed jam from Jordan. Spectacular move by Michael. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
Alright, so that's the end of that video. I really enjoyed that. He did make it pretty simple. he did break things down that the Nick Wright dude has said. I'm pretty sure his name Nick Wright. I like the points he brought up. That point, like him showing all them points at the beginning and comparing Jordan to LeBron in the same amount of games in the same seasons. I like how he did that a lot. He should not with that. And those stains on LeBron's legacy, there's other reasons why, but with just those stains that he has on his legacy compared to like Jordan really having no stains, you gotta be realistic, man. That's what I really feel like. And like I said earlier with the wake-up call, I feel like Jordan's wake-up call just came earlier. And not even that it came earlier, I feel like Jordan accepted it earlier. Like, he made a difference and a change first. Because he knew, like, he had to get stronger. He had to come in with a different... He couldn't come the same. He couldn't keep coming the same way. And I feel like LeBron just... I don't know. It took him that Mavs loss for him to really lock in for real. Because before that, Dwayne Wade already had him a championship, right? Dwayne Wade already had him a chip. So, y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel. We're going to roll to 10K subs. We're so close. At 10K, we're doing the Michael Jordan Air documentary. So, make sure to subscribe if you're new. This is your first time watching the channel. What's up? Like this video. Let's get to 200 likes in 24 hours.